Hi, it's Monday, it's 3 o'clock. Welcome to Together Unlocked, brought to you by the Disability Arts Organisation Together 2012. We're here in the main London 2012 Paralympic host borough of Newham. I'm Ju Gosling, also known as the artist Ju90. I'm artistic director. With me in my East London studio, where she's been locked down since March, is our chair, the artist and documenter Julie Newman. I'm going to come back to East London for some audio description in a minute, but first I'm going to go to the West Midlands, to the other end of our very long virtual wheeled sofa. Those of you who are regular viewers will see there is only one co-host today. So tell us, who are you? What do you look like? And where is the other person? And you're not able to unmute yourself. So again, if you're a regular viewer, welcome to the wonderfully accessible but very slightly clunky broadcasting platform that is Be Live. So let's try again. Over to the West Midlands.
Hello. Yes, I am Josh Surgeonator. I'm one of the other co-hosts for Together Unlocked. Yes, unfortunately, I'm not joined by Robin today. He's had to go and deal with some family things, nothing too serious, hopefully. But yeah, he's not going to be with us today, but he'll be hopefully back with us on Wednesday. So you've just got me today.
Double check as well. I understand he was halfway through rewiring the studio, and that's why you've got headphones on and not a great deal of light.
Yeah, in the partnership, I bring the good looks and the humour, and he brings all of the sound engineering. And yeah, he was midway through organising it. So yes, I'm rocking the headphones today because I don't even know where to start on rewiring a mixing desk. So hopefully the sound comes through okay for everyone that's watching at home.
So let's have a bit more audio description.
Yes. So yes, so I have blonde hair that's swept over to one side. I have black and gold headphones on, wireless headphones. I'm wearing a grey sweatshirt that says Sheffield Hallam University on it in a kind of claret or maroon colour. And then behind me there is a nice white sheet, and then above my head and behind me to the left, right, never sure on this camera, there is a kick drum cover that says AF, which stands for Angry Fish, which is Robin's band. And then there is a very angry looking fish on it as well, and that is one of the skins that he uses when he is performing, when that eventually happens.
And your Sheffield Hallam sweatshirt is where you would be?
Yes, it's where I brought it at my master's graduation, and yeah, I'm currently there as a PhD student, but there remotely at the moment.
I think we should start sending you really dreadful food and charging you lots of money for it and not letting you eat anything else, and then you'd feel right at home. But back in East London, we have, amongst the four of us, we've got the two different styles of lockdown. We have the self-styled moth-eaten corona crop, which is what I have, with short hennaed hair, very similar to the dog who was attacked with the same clippers, or we have the swept over look as sported by the other two. I've also got black framed glasses with green eyes, black wrist braces, silver coloured jewellery, and a purple t-shirt on that says Mad Love. And behind us, you can see part of our Together 2012 graffiti banner, and that has images of all of the different arts activities that we run over the year, which includes carnival art, street art, drama, performance, visual art, music, poetry, spoken word, literature, and much, much more. I've run out of puff there, so I'm going to hand over to a bit of audio description from Julie.
Hello and happy Monday. Oh, that's a nice sounding name, isn't it? There could be a band by that. I'm Julie.
Someone might have got there before you.
Correct.
I think so.
I might have to fight for it. I've got gold and silver hair. I've got dark rimmed glasses. I have a white t-shirt that says Choose Love, which is an amnesty t-shirt, and a very good sentiment, obviously.
And if you're watching us on YouTube and you'd rather have live captions, go to our website. I'm going to put some text on the bottom of the screen, but it's www.together2012.org.uk. Under the main Together Unlocked TV page, you can also find our highlights and links pages. They have all of the videos and the links that we mention on the show and on previous shows. So you'll be able to find anything that we show here straight from that page. You can also find out more about the animal hosts that make, should we say, unscheduled appearances. There are two cats chasing each other around in front of my monitor as we speak. So we'll just see. Julie got love bombed by a very large black cat just before the show started.
It's
we'll
true.
see if that happens again.
Let's hope not.
But let's hope not. Coming up, we have our regular Monday update feature at around 3:20. We have an interview live with Vicky Wreford-Sinnott talking about Julie, Funny Peculiar Girls. Well, Vicky will tell us lots more, but it's a wonderful brand new production. It's available now to watch free online. Vicky's going to tell us a lot more about that. We have, as it's Monday, our Relax with Arwa session. So we wind up our Mondays with an excerpt from Arwa's yoga channel. Arwa is a member of our Act Up Newham Theatre Company. We're profiling the different members throughout Black History Month, and we're going to have a film. We had a film with Arwa on Friday, and that is on the highlights and links page as well. Arwa's one of our favourite artists, and she's only 22. She's already running her own YouTube channel, so do check that out. But first, on a Friday, we always have items something for the weekend where we also dress up to go out to stay in. So sometimes the two are connected, some not. How was your weekend, Josh?
It was quite nice, really. I managed to watch some Star Wars, which was one of the things that I'd recommended, which I very much enjoyed. Looked through kind of in a little bit more detail some of the photos from the photography competition that we talked about. And yeah, watched the Grand Prix, just kind of chilled out, really. It's quite nice.
Julie?
I can't remember what I said I was going to be doing other than going to the moon with Professor Maggie Pocock, which was lovely, sort of having tea with the clangers, as you do. But I listened to the Grand Prix. I enjoyed that. And I looked through some films. I was looking specifically for a short film that I wanted to use on today's Photographers and Filmmakers Club. So I enjoyed actually looking back through all the films, and there's a massive selection on the Together archive, isn't there?
There is, and we've got a film coming up at 3:30 that tells you more about our Join In From Home programme. You can join in wherever you are, whether you're disabled or not. And one of the activities is simply being able to view films from our previous film festivals. So I'll come on to the film festival, but just to say, I was dressed up to go out to stay in to join in with the World Human Rights Cities Forum in Gwangju in South Korea. And I did indeed manage to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning, which was the next day in South Korea. And it was just fabulous. I think two things really stood out for me. I attended a session on safer cities, and it started with a cellist playing 4 pieces. It was just wonderful. But it also reminded me, when I was lucky enough to be invited to speak there 2 years ago, how in other countries politics and culture are not separate. They're the same thing. But the other thing that I found completely wonderful is the in-person things that were taking place in Gwangju, with other speakers coming in remotely. Every single speaker had a clear mask, and oh my goodness, what a difference it made. I do a bit of lip reading just to sort of help me along, and it was just so clear. They were better clear masks than I've seen in the UK. So I'm going to find out where those masks came from. But yeah, I really enjoyed going to Gwangju, and it was incredible. I could have afforded to go. They wouldn't have invited me back, I think, speakers so soon. But the wonders did you I went anywhere. So that was me. Was there anything else on the weekend?
I thought it was quite interesting.
I just had a really rubbish pun.
Sorry. Hang on,
Oh.
which one of us is speaking, Josh?
I was going to say, I heard the food on... Oh. Can you hear me? You've gone...
Yes, you keep going.
We can hear you.
Oh, I was just going to say that I'd heard the... Oh. You're very...
Talk, speak.
Dear viewers, we do apologise. I'm going to move on to the next item. Josh, assume that we're going to tell you if there is a problem. But just to explain for anybody who's watching, the signal does come and go. It's actually poorer for us than it is for you for various technical reasons. But I do know that the signal is very low at the moment. So I would like to move on at this point amidst barking assistants, dogs, cats racing around and a struggling student to say it is the day when we finally release our festival programme. Every year our artistic programme centres around Disability History Month. Disability History Month was set up 10 years ago. And it starts in November and it continues to December. That's kind of a strange month, but other people got there first, as is so always the case. And also, International Day of Disabled People is the 3rd of December. World AIDS Day is the 1st of December, and International Human Rights Day is somewhere around that time. So it's actually a very timely month, and we also find that being so close to the winter holidays means you can really put the festive into festival. But this year, you can join in wherever you are. Everything we do is always free, and we always have captions and interpretation, but now because it's online, you can join in from the comfort of your own home. So I'm just going to reach for my iPad and hand my microphone over to my co-host for a moment. So don't look now, but this web page went live on our website just before 3 o'clock. It's the first page you get to after home, so even comes up before the TV. It starts on the 9th of November, it continues to the 10th of December, so we effectively have 5 weeks worth of festival. We're starting the festival proper actually on this show on the 11th of November when artist Jessica Starnes, who we've had on the show earlier in the year, will be running a project called Walk With Me. Now, I'm already taking applications if you would like to be part of this project. What Jessica does is she uses Google Street View and she facilitates a virtual walk. And while she's walking with you, she has a conversation about why you've chosen that particular place. Now, it may be you're very experienced with Google Street View, but you really just want to share a special walk. Or it may be that you have no idea how to walk virtually, but there's somewhere that's very special to you that you've really been missing since March. So you can send your email applications to info@together2012.org.uk, and I'm going to put that up on the screen. And what we'll be doing later in the festival is releasing the films of the walks so that everybody can share in those walks. And then on the Thursday, which is the 12th of November, and from now on, most things take place on a Thursday, a Saturday, or a Tuesday. We've got the live festival opening. It's actually not going to be serious or solemn, but it will be commemorative. As you know, because we've been marking those losses, we have lost quite a significant number of, yes, very significant people to us in the disability arts movement. So we will be combining that with our Carnival Arts programme. Their friends will be making things called a Frienders, which is part of our Carnival Arts programme too. and we will be presenting those and video tributes to the artists right at the beginning of the festival. We also have commemorative performances from cellist Joanne Cox and from Sign Dance Collective, who are one of the companies who've lost somebody this year. And we thought it was really important to start with that, and we'll be remembering those through the offenders that appear on each page throughout the festival. Then on Saturday, the 14th of November, we move on to the first of our family activities at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And Mainspring Arts have collaborated with Julia Collar from Collar and Cuffs, and they've brought us a group of sensory stories called Strings and Things. So you can also download a whole set of resources, and they're wonderful ways of exploring concepts like, I look at this, near and far, caged and free, using something as simple as string and telling a story at the same time. Then the following Tuesday, which is the 17th of November, we have a public view, as we're calling it, of Ali Z's The Starving Artist exhibition. And I'm going to be chairing a discussion around eating disorders, art, images of starving artists, and Ali Z's exhibition. Then on the Thursday, we move over to live art because, as you will see, all art forms are included. So we have two new performances from Gobscure, who's doing a performance called Hyena in Petticoats, and Rebecca Redican de Les Six. I think it's worth explaining at this point how we're going to be organising the festival. Everything will be broadcast on YouTube. If you want to watch it with live captions, you'll be able to watch YouTube via our website, same as you can with the show. But there will also be tickets, which will go out through Eventbrite, but we can facilitate and support people to get them. If you want to join in with the live audience so that you can ask the artist questions, because there'll be an opportunity to do that at all of the events, then you can have a Zoom ticket. But there's no limit on tickets, and you don't have to do anything. You can just log on to YouTube and watch. So that brings us on Saturday the 21st to the second of our family activities. Alice Darlington is producing a new video with new puppets, Bollywood themed, and it's called Horsey Horsey. And there's an opportunity to join in that from home. They're actually based on children's bicycles. So if you've got kids who've outgrown their bikes and they're not in a state to give away to anybody else, they could have a whole new life as a puppet. And then Tuesday, the 24th of November, our very own Act Up Newham will be presenting I Am Tony live with contributions from Chile. We talked a bit about on Friday about that, and they're sending us regular films about how that production's going. So more on that soon. And then on Thursday, the 26th, we're joining up with Survivors Poetry, who've been running very successful monthly lockdown lounges. So there's going to be some of their poets and some of the locally based poets from the Together Pop-Up Poetry Club, and there will be open mic slots available to everybody. So that's going to be a really wonderful poetry event. Then on a Saturday, the 28th, we have the last of our family activities. Our very own Sahira Khan, the actor, TV presenter and star of WhatsApp Auntie, is going to be presenting her play The Cockerel and the Fox. That's in BSL with English interpretation available, and we'll be having a whole live discussion with Sahira as part of that. Tuesday, the 1st of December, of course, is World AIDS Day. And what we're doing then is celebrating theatre we would have seen if it had been possible for them to tour. So we have two recordings from last autumn of plays that would have toured this year. And that's Damien Darkness's play Sex and Disability and Vince Law's podcast, A Very Queer Nazi Faust. The podcast is a recording of a play, but it's been done as a podcast. On the 2nd of December, Jessica's Walks will be released, so we can start walking with Jessica. And then from Thursday the 3rd, which is International Day of Disabled People, through to the Sunday, we have our Disability Film Festival. We'll be releasing that programme later, but just to remind you, if you're working on a film, if you think it's going to be finished by December, but it's not finished at the moment, enter it now. Full details are on the website. And then last but by no means least, in the final week on the 8th of December, we have a special event with Indus called The Sound of the Story. And we're going to be looking at how you make live sound effects with Foley artists, how that can really convey a story on stage or on film, particularly to audiences with visual impairment, but not only. And we're going to hear about how they're incorporating that in their work with opera and dance. And then 10th of December, our final end of festival party, open to the first time to people who can get there from anywhere in the world, because we don't have to pay for the tickets. And that traditionally is open mic, music, poetry, spoken word, bit of live art, and we'll be awarding our Arts Award certificates for the year. Again, virtually, but I think it will still be a very good evening. So that's nearly 5 weeks worth. So really and truly, the festival, I think, is stronger than ever and
It's
easier
longer than ever.
No, it's not longer than ever, because quite often we do actually, and indeed, 2 more things that I forgot to mention. Justin Edgar, whose film The Social Model was our Saturday night feature, no, I think Friday night feature 3 years ago, has a film-based exhibition called Reasonable Adjustment. We'll be celebrating that during the film festival. And whatever the other one was that I just forgot, I've forgotten it again, so I will come back. But all of this is on our website. What will be coming up next on the website will be a page really per production, but I think there's plenty of information to be taking in there at the moment. If you're able to join us live, then keep your Tuesday and Thursday evenings booked from 7 o'clock. And otherwise, remember that the recordings will then be available throughout the festival and will then become part of our archive.
Sounds good, Ju. Sounds good.
I am really looking forward to it. Obviously, there's some sadnesses, you know, as we've said before, one of the original performers at the opening is no longer with us. So, yes, I think it will be a different kind of festival. It's certainly not the festival I was expecting to be running 12 months ago. But indeed, just the very fact that we've opened up and been able to advertise the commissions so widely means we have artists that actually I had no idea even existed, and that's been great. We've just been joined, to move on to the next item, called Update, by one of the tabby cats currently living in the house. I've got different colour collars on them at the moment, so this is definitely my tabby cat Jinx, who's, as regulars will know, becoming keener and keener about going on camera. But Josh, Update.
Yes. So today's update is more of a things that use apps date. We've talked a lot in the show around kind of different things that we use, different apps, and then as well as kind of the NHS app relying on newer models of phones. It doesn't have to be the newest one. But tomorrow, Apple have a press conference that's at 6 o'clock UK time, where they're announcing the new iPhone 12. We all imagine it's going to be called the iPhone 12. Sometimes they mix it up and add letters in there just to confuse everybody. But they're also expected to kind of talk about their new Apple TV, some new headphones, some wireless charging, kind of GPS tag you can kind of put on your keys and stuff, I think. So if you're like me and you lose them all the time, you can get your phone to tell you where you've left your keys. I lost my keys for about 15 minutes once, only to find them that I just put them in the lock in the door. And it wasn't even on the outside of the door, it was on the inside. I was just being useless at finding it. So that's all great. And
I'll just come in there because I think it's one of the things that we did want to look at today. We mentioned briefly last week that the government has issued new social care advice, and in particular, they've really stressed to local authorities that people are entitled to direct payments to purchase their own care, and that they should be really, really, really flexible about it, meaning using technology. On that basis, I've got an Apple Watch, and I'm very clear that it wasn't ever designed for me, but I think what they have done that has been very clever is redesign it for people like me. And the very fact that it's got a fall alarm when the pendant fall alarm system is so
Rubbish.
clunky and doesn't really work, because even if you haven't got somebody locally who can come round when you have an accident, the pendant alarm system really is pretty useless. Whereas my watch apparently will tell somebody else in the house and will then phone 999. So that made it unmissable. And of course, they've also put a blood oxygen monitor into it. I've already lost the watch a few times, so it's not foolproof. I was disappointed and surprised that it runs out of battery every single day when I'm only using it as on my wrist. I don't know whether that's because it's monitoring the cool stuff. I was a bit cross that the plug, it didn't come with a plug, but it's a USB plug. And everything else I bought from Apple recently is a different plug, so I can't even use the other Apple plug on it. But I was really surprised at how strongly I found the difference between health and fitness, because it was set up to default to tell me instantly how many calories I'd burned moving and how many calories I'd burned sitting down and how many steps I'd done and how far I'd walked. And I thought, unless you're a kind of top athlete, I mean, I'm very new. I didn't even know what a Fitbit was till I went to a lesbian comedy night and everybody else was laughing at the jokes about it. But, I don't think that's very healthy. It might be a fitness app, but so I think they need to come with a little bit of a warning. But I know obviously you're a sports person, so what's your take on it?
I think it's marketed as a smart watch that will link up to. It has its own kind of inbuilt fitness stuff that links up to the various kind of cycling and running apps and things. So that functionality in it is designed for people that are out doing runs and cycles and swims and things, that are wanting to kind of track all of that fitness information. I know that you can switch it. You can tell it that you're a wheelchair user, so it switches. It doesn't track kind of how many hours you've been standing for, and instead of doing steps, it tells you how many pushes you've done. And I think because when it's done at the normal one, if you've been sitting down for a certain amount of time, it will say, oh, it's stand up and stretch your legs. If you tell it that you're a wheelchair user, it instead tells you to have a roll around, which I thought was a nice kind of touch. I think I can understand where you're coming from on the fitness side.
Go there, Josh. Yes and no. I mean, every so often it goes off without me programming it. It goes, remember to breathe. Just a minute's breathing will really do you good. And I've just been interrupted. I've just lost 5 minutes. So it doesn't work for me in that way either. And I guess what I'm coming around saying is I think they're very handy. I have no memory prompts, therefore I have memory problems. It tells me what my calendar's doing. So yeah, it will monitor my falls. It will tell me what to do. But even then, it's not really like a PA. I mean, it told me for about 5 days that we were starting the film club on Zoom today for the very first time, but it didn't actually say, Ju, what that means is you've got to be there on Monday and you've got to launch the Zoom and you've got to make sure you've got something done. And actually, it just, oh, I've got film club on Monday. So it's not a social care. However much it's a sort of social care emergency solution, it's not really an alternative to social care, whatever the government might think.
Yeah, I mean, it is still just a watch. At the end of it can do a lot, but yeah.
But I would recommend to anybody that you turn off the calorie count. If you're going to get one because you want the fall alarm, because you want to be reminded to take your medication, any of those things, I do think it's great. You know, it's got the added advantage that if you do catch COVID, it will tell you what your blood oxygen level is, but it's never going to be healthy to get that obsessive about calories. And if, like me, you've had an eating disorder, you know, you're prone to eating disorders. Yeah, I looked at it and I thought it shouldn't be called a health app. It should be called a fitness app, because there is a big difference. But that's just my few words. Julie's ordered one as well, so when we fall over, we can let each other know, which actually or more to the point, there was this little cry for about 10 minutes the other day, and of course no memory prompt. And what happens is the 3-floor lift goes from the office to the studio. Leo, the big shaggy black cat, gets on top of the lift and won't move, which means Julie pulls the lift. Choo, choo. And I thought, oh, I wonder what she wants. Choo, choo. And, you know, again, no memory. Oh, she's calling the cat. So, Leo, Leo. So now we're going to be able to program our watches so that I can get an alert to go, cat is on the mobility lift.
You can now have some very expensive walkie-talkies on your wrist.
Exactly.
But with the calorie counter switched off. So now you'll be glad to know we will be moving on. Next week's update will feature Noel Guinan, our engagement support worker, and he's going to tell us all about the Covered Community Champions scheme.
You've got a twin.
And, yes,
I've been attacked by a cat.
For anybody who thinks that we really are,
you can be famous.
We're not. It's just that there's a tabby that looks very similar to the tabby in the East London studio, who's now
appeared on TV.
Midlands studio. So without further ado, I'm going to tell you more about our Join In From Home programme. Together 2012 is running a Join In From Home programme from our website, together2012.org.uk. Click on the link at the top of the page, Join In From Home, to go straight to the main page, where you have a wide range of accessible, inclusive creative activities, mostly using things that you would already have at home. At the top of the page and throughout the pages, you will also see videos in British Sign Language to translate the site for deaf people. These videos can also be useful if you have difficulties reading and you simply want to hear more of the content. The Join In From Home programme is based on the activities that we would usually be running in East London. Dance Club usually meets on the fourth Monday of each month, and they create improvised masked dance for the screen. Here you can also see their very first film, where they simply made masks from paper plates, covered themselves with fabric, and just moved gently to the music. You can hear as well, there's an improvised soundtrack. So we're suggesting that you make a mask out of anything you can think of. It could be a cardboard box, a paper bag, a paper plate, as in here. Video yourself dancing in it and then share the video with us. We will show it on screen, and we will also enter it into the dance programme of our film festival, which we run every December. If you're temporarily or permanently chair-based, there's also a warm-up you can do here, created by our associate wheelchair dance company Folk in Motion, and that focuses on relaxing your upper body and improving your breathing. The Photographers and Filmmakers Club usually meets on the second Monday of each month. We're inviting you to make a video at home with the theme of home and share it with us. You can use a phone or a camera, make any kind of film you wish, including drama, documentary, dance, animation, artist films, comedy, and they'll be eligible for a CAT award at our December Film Festival. You can also watch with us from home. In addition to Together 2012 TV with Together Unlocked and other live streams, we have the Together Disability Film Festival highlights. Each year we run the International Together Disability Film Festival in Stratford, bringing together a wide range of films by disabled filmmakers, as well as films about disability issues and disabled people. We always publish the programmes online with links to the films that are freely available. So we invite you to revisit our recent film festivals from the comfort of your own home, and also to send us reviews of those films. And finally, you can sit back, relax, and enjoy videos of past live performances, artist talks, and creative workshops that we've produced in the past here. So, for example, from past festivals, we have documentation and films of creative dance workshops, street art performances, dances that the dance club have created, dance performances, and of course, we're continuing to add new activities on a regular basis. Right, I think everybody has got sound. So I'm delighted to say that joining us now is Vicky Wreford-Sinnott. I'm sure I haven't pronounced that properly, let alone as a Londoner. And she is going to tell us about a new film called Funny Peculiar. And I should just add, following up the end of that video, this year's film festival is open to films from what we would say the teens. So if you made your film in 2010 onwards, it is eligible for the festival. If you've already been screened at the festival in the past, we will be selecting past films to screen again too. But most excitingly, the CAT Awards were only introduced in 2019. We're going to go back over all of the films that we've screened since 2012, and we're going to choose the best in each category. And then there will be 2 special programs as part of this year's festival. There will be these new awards, and there will be a screening of the award winners all in one program, because we don't usually do it like that from 2019. So I'm really hoping that Vicky is going to enter Funny Peculiar, but tell us more about it, Vicky.
Hi everybody, I'm a tall white woman in my 50s with teal hair. I'm wearing a black top with red spots and a red scarf. Yeah, Funny Peculiar has been a bit of a highlight of lockdown for me. It was a surprise, it was unexpected. I didn't expect to be making it, but it arrived really from the backdrop of the appalling numbers of deaths of disabled women, and also the vulnerability tag that removed the word disability in our identities from kind of the high risk that we were being exposed to, not just from the virus, but actually from the way that we are treated. We are triaged even before we get ill, you know, in terms of what treatment we can expect and whether it's equal to other people's. So the piece arrived because kind of wanted to challenge that narrative, that description of us as if it was almost inevitable that people who were vulnerable or had underlying health conditions, which is, you know, disposable almost, and it was inevitable that we wouldn't make it. And, you know, obviously I wanted to share that we're really complex, we're really interesting. And so the idea came about to create a piece for 4 disabled women characters. They're all monologues, but they're intercut, which means that there are some connections. The characters don't speak to each other, they all tell each other's, tell their own stories. But they are largely there to challenge those myths around vulnerability. They're larger than life characters without being caricatures. They're funny, witty, wise. You know, then we're not denying that all the negative stuff, the bad stuff around COVID. Quite the opposite. We're trying to challenge that.
And who stars in it?
Absolutely, we've got the brilliant Liz Carr from Silent Witness fame. We've got the brilliant Mandy Colleran, who is a comedian and activist, and the brilliant Bea Webster, who is she's currently an actor with the RSC and is also part of the National Theatre of Scotland's Playwrights programme. And I also happened to be in it as well because the budget dictated we had a low budget actor in there. So that was another surprise.
Reason. And did you direct it, Vicky?
I did. Yeah, I did direct it. I wrote it very much in response to conversations that I had with the actors. So the ideas were in place, but then it sort of grew. The characters grew also out of conversations of our experiences of lockdown and of us as women. So the 4 characters, we've got Zsa Zsa, played by Liz Carr. We've got Blanche, played by Mandy Colleran. Cuba is B. Webster, and I'm Raquel. All very exotic names. There is a twist to those names, but I'm not going to say what it is. It's worth watching the film to find out what the twist is.
Shall we watch the excerpt now and then?
Oh yeah, why not? Yeah, a little excerpt. Zsa Zsa, played by Liz Carr, a white woman in her 40s who is a wheelchair user. Seated at the front door of her house. She's wearing a stylish, colourful scarf in a black bob hairstyle and a designer cardigan. She's wearing large sunglasses. Zsa Zsa is still seated at her front door, looking down towards the pavement at the end of her drive.
Kate! Kate! See you on the drive for a tipple later. Cocktails at sunset? I know, weird. Gotta go. Got a sourdough in the oven.
Zsa Zsa mouths to camera that she doesn't. We are now in Zsa Zsa's living room, which has a stylish retro feel. Zsa Zsa is texting on her mobile phone.
Hope you are doing well. Not as well as can be expected in these bizarre... No, I've already said that. Surreal times. Tonight at 8, bring a chair, bring a bottle. A few of us are meeting on my drive for my cocktails at sunset evening. And absolutely no bingo guaranteed. Send. Bloody do-gooders over the road in the flats sent me a little invitation. A handwritten note on a postcard. No need to be on your own in these difficult times. Thought you might like to join us for a game of community bingo. Thursday at 7 for an hour before the NHS clapping. Blanche, over the road, kiss. Well, Blanche, over the road, kiss. No, I bloody wouldn't. I have a terminal case of FOMO. But bingo, for God's sake.
What is FOMO?
Fear of missing out.
Oh, right. I've already missed out on that then, haven't I?
Yes, that's how untrendy we are. We rely on the student, you see, Vicky, for explaining all of these things to us, like household people do. So let's get back to the film. Just one thing I've seemed to remember from social media, you've got different accessible forms of the film available, haven't you? So we're going to put links into all of the different versions on the highlights and links page.
That'd be brilliant. Yes, we've got a captioned version, a BSL version, and that was the audio described version with captions. So yeah, do that. Yeah, get people to check it out.
Well, we want to make it as easy as possible for you to be able to watch it. I mean, it is just unmissable stuff. Although I was listening to that again and thinking, kind of if only. I don't know whether it's different up north, and I really hope it is, just for some of the cliches, but we have not had little notes in Canning Town. Our dogs have not been walked for 6 months. And nobody bothers to social distance. And yeah, I could live with a tiny bit of patronising if anybody local is around, but I don't think it's quite how we do things in the East End. But certainly that was the narrative, and I think that's the other problem, isn't it? Everybody expects that if you're on the shielding list, somehow you've got these volunteers coming out of your ears. And in fact, we have 2 assistance dogs who are kind of useless at doing things like the washing up and the hoovering. I don't know why, but clearly can't train them properly.
That's for the cats. Well,
so tell us about the other characters a bit more, Vicky, because we've seen Blanche there. Who are the other characters?
Yeah, so that was Jar Jar. We've got Blanche, who is she's the one who sent the postcard. She's the community bingo organizer, but she's also a community leader. So although she is shielding, people have turned to her to organize, to get ideas, to get resources. She is coordinating all sorts of food parcel drops, and so it's turned that notion of being needy and useless completely on its head. And then we've got Cuba, she's two things. She's a gamer, which is important to her identity, but she also kind of accidentally almost got involved in a food bank and then a soup kitchen, providing food for the local community from the allotments, gave them loads of vegetables. So it was very much about people coming together, again, challenging that kind of that needy notion. But the fact that she's a gamer also, she's talking about wanting to create a disabled woman in a game and not the eugenicist dream that kind of exists there at the moment. And then we've got Raquel, which is the character I play, who's a writer who prefers to be in the shadows, but has been challenged to do a stand-up comedy gig. So she's got to wrestle with whether she wants to do that or whether she's got anything to say at all. So all of the characters have got little conflicts and dilemmas, but it was much more about, and for people who've seen my other work, this actually is nothing like my other work. It was made for a very different reason and a different audience, I suppose.
Well,
But
I mean, we always say that our artistic policy is to support emerging artists and mid-career artists making new work. And
yeah.
I think the most exciting things that have come out of lockdown are the productions that have been made under those circumstances.
I couldn't agree more. It's made me think in a different way as an artist. It's made me have huge aspirations. Now I've made a film. My goodness, there's no holding me back. But the other thing was that we're developing a model for practice moving forward. We were all shielding women who were involved. We all used people from our bubble to film us. It was all really safe. And yet we've had, hundreds and hundreds of views, brilliant feedback. So there's something quite exciting about that. It's a new kind of way of working and new audiences.
Yeah, I mean, we've been really excited with our associate drama company, Act Up Newham, which is a community training company, and they've made us a piece of content every single week. Yeah. And done it all on Zoom when most of them have only got very basic phones or tablets and don't have anybody else to film. And it's just been great. So in this last few minutes, tell me, Vicky, what are the next steps for Funny Peculiar, but critically all these plans for you and what you're doing with Little Cog, which is your company. But you also do work separately, do you, with the Ark in Stockton, or is it always as Little Cog?
It's so I work predominantly with Little Cog. We have artistic collaborators in Full Circle Theatre Company, which is a learning disability theatre company, because we want to make sure that all disabled people get their chance on stage. And actually, we're making a huge outdoor piece of theatre at the moment on Zoom. None of the members of this learning disability theatre company had been on a computer before lockdown, and now they're Zooming every week, making a massive piece of theatre. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. And then for Funny Peculiar, so I had some brilliant commissioning partners for that. It's I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but it is about to be published, which is hugely exciting for me. I'm very excited about that. And then out of it have come some new commissions. And continuing to work with and support other artists. So Little Cog's very much a platform for that. And we've got some new commissions coming up with a variety of artists, which is fantastic.
Well, we're certainly hoping to see lots more from Little Cog and lots more from the Northeast on Together Unlocked. We knew when we started the show we'd be on air till at least next April, and Yeah, we've got tentative plans for 2022 now, but please do send us the film for the festival. In the meantime, as I said, go to the Together Unlocked TV page, click on the highlights and links. You'll be able to easily find all of the different versions. So there's a version to suit you. It is just brilliant. So, yes, I'll have that highlights and links page up by 6 o'clock. The recording of the show is always released by 8 o'clock, embedded in the website. But although it will have better audio than this because we re-engineer it, the captions may not be processed by YouTube till tomorrow. So if you like to watch the recordings with captions, or you want to tell your friends about it, generally better to see it the next day. So we're back on Wednesday. What have you got for us on Wednesday, Josh? Tell us all about your regular features.
Yeah, so we'll have a little bit on gaming and sport. So linking back into the film with some gaming. Being a gamer myself, but I think I'd much rather have cocktails with Liz Carr than community bingo. So
Me too.
Yeah, anything other than bingo, to be honest. But cocktail hour with Liz Carr sounds pretty fun.
Well, I
no,
so Liz Carr and play games, but there you go.
So yeah, we're talking about some gaming news, games, and then some update on sport. There's some upcoming sporting events, and there's a IPC launched sports thing that was launched last week that I'll give some more details about for some young people at home to get involved in, which should be quite good. And then yeah, I know we'll have Paralympics competition as well, where we race some form of clockwork. Animal or person or vehicle, depending on which ones you could find that work on a Wednesday morning to film. So we'll have that competition as well.
Yes, and I should have said in the audio description, there is also a blue teddy bear behind me, barely visible, called Nigel. He was last week's entrant in the Clockwork Paralympics. Birmingham 2022 won the right for their teddy bear to wear a medal. So we will be competing again on Wednesday, but more importantly, from my perspective as artistic director, it's also Poetry Day. So we will have poems from that morning's pop-up poetry club. Do send us yours. We would love to hear them, including our challenge for the Join In From Home programme is to write a poem about Together. We're publishing that anthology next month as part of the festival. If you contribute, you will get a copy of the final book. Time is ticking, so it's a really good time to be sending in your poems about Together. And if you want some inspiration, last week's poems on that very theme from the Pop-Up Poetry Club are on the highlights and links page. So I think it just remains to say thank you, Julie. Thank you, Josh. Big thank you to Vicky. We're going to finish with our regular Monday feature, Relax with Awa. Awa is a member of Act Up Newham, as I said earlier. She's got her own yoga channel. She finishes the yoga with a relaxation session. We decided, maybe not always, but in these times, Monday is a difficult day. So it's nice to finish with a little bit of a relax. And we look forward to seeing you on Wednesday, 3 o'clock. And we're also, of course, back on Friday. So don't forget, have a look at the website and you will find all of the details for the Together 2020 Disability History Month Festival. But I will say bye for now.
Now, I want you to add you are on a dead set. It's just you, nobody, it's just you. And you do hills of land. You see hills of sand and you are walking on the sand. you are walking on the sand and you are leaving as you are walking. Now, remember the hour that I was telling you again. The flower is in your head. Nobody can see it but you. You know that it's there. So you're walking, and then you stop and you see a river in front of you. You step into that river. You stand into that river. Your body feels so relaxed. So relaxed. And you're lying down in the water. And you're not thinking about nothing. Only you're breathing. Only you're breathing. So you're lying there. You're lying there. You feel at peace with nature. You're just lying there. What do you feel? Just lying there. Does it feel lovely? Or you don't know? Does it feel nice? The water feels so nice on your skin. And you're relaxed. You're at one with nature. Nothing is on your mind that you're breathing. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. I'm not done with the talk. Now, just leave it for 2 minutes. So you really relax. When you're ready, come out of the... Open your eyes whenever you are ready. Listen to the sound of the music. Is it peaceful? Is it happy? Is it sad? Whatever you are feeling. And Thank you for listening to Relax for Hour.